Council.
Just about 7 o'clock now at 1310 WIBA. Cloudy skies, 37 degrees. Currently in Madison, northeast winds at 23, gusting up to 32 miles an hour currently. We will have CBS News for you at the top of the hour. Just after that, a look at local news, weather, and sports for this Sunday evening. We'll check our forecast. Looks like some light rain, a mixed bag of precipitation over the next couple of days. CBS is next.
Buy Gold Bond medicated powder in regular and extra strength. Gold Bond, more than a powder, it's medication. Use as directed.
This is the news station, News Radio 1310 WIBA.
Good evening at 7:06 in Madison. Cloudy skies, 36 degrees. I'm Chris Ryan, WIBA News. A shooting incident in Madison overnight. It occurred at the Boulevard on East Springs Drive around 1:30 this morning. Police say a woman suffered minor injuries after being shot. She was treated and released. The incident remains under investigation and no one is in custody. Former University of Wisconsin System President Fred Harvey Harrington died yesterday. He was 82. The UW says Harrington died in a Madison hospital of complications of a stroke. Harrington served as UW System President during turbulent years of anti-war protests and unprecedented growth from 1962 to 1970. A planned expansion for Platteville Airport is having trouble getting off the ground. The Grant County Airport plans to add a new runway and is ready to take on bids on the state and city-funded project, but doesn't have a definite hold on the land it needs. The landowners say because of low use, the airport doesn't need the expansion, but airport officials say the expansion is needed for safety reasons and with hopes of increased use. Lawmakers and a county official say Governor Tommy Thompson's opinion that county sales taxes could help the Milwaukee Brewers build a ballpark isn't likely to get a friendly reception among local politicians. Waukesha County Board of Supervisors Chairman James Dwyer says he certainly doesn't think the regional sales tax is going to fly in his county. It would involve a 0.25% sales tax in addition to the state 5% tax and a 0.5% tax already allowed counties. No one matched all the numbers in either the Powerball or the Megabucks drawing last night. That means the jackpots will continue to go up. The Powerball is heading for triple figures once again and will be worth about $75 million in Wednesday's drawing. The Megabucks isn't quite so large, but $2.4 million for the midweek drawing isn't too bad. There was one winner in the Super Cash drawing. Someone matched all 6 numbers to go home with the top prize of $250,000. Winning lottery numbers tonight in Wisconsin's Pick 3 drawing, numbers were 7, 2, and 4. In sports, Milwaukee rallied from 17 down in the third quarter to pull out a 102-99 victory over Atlanta. The Bucks outscored the Hawks 15-6 over the game's final 2 minutes. Johnny Newman and Eric Murdoch hit 3-pointers to spark the closing run. Glenn Robinson had 32 points and 9 rebounds for Milwaukee. Ben Baker finished with 23 points. Mookie Blaylock led the Hawks with 22. And the Chicago Cubs said today they've signed right-handed pitcher Jamie Navarro to a 1-year contract. Navarro's deal with the Cubs is for $850,000 and the chance to make $650,000 more in performance bonuses. Navarro is the 27-year-old son of former Major Leaguer Julio Navarro. He spent the past 4+ seasons with the Milwaukee Brewers, who did not offer him another contract. We'll take a look at weather next. WIBA News Time 7:09.
You've dreamed of architecture and love Wisconsin. Call Hovde Realty, 255-5175.
Currently in Madison, cloudy skies and 36 degrees. As we take a look at the WIBA forecast for tonight, windy, some light rain, freezing rain or sleet developing later on. Overnight low at 30, winds east-northeast from 12 to 25. Tomorrow, windy, light rain, freezing rain or sleet early, and that'll change all over to rain. Then ending in the afternoon, high at 43 and winds east from 15 to 30. On Tuesday, continued windy with rain and a few thunderstorms likely, high at 54. The extended outlook Wednesday, a chance of rain, high at 46. Thursday, partly to mostly cloudy, high at 54. And Friday, with a high at 56, we'll have partly cloudy skies. In Milwaukee at Mitchell Field, cloudy 37. Green Bay, cloudy 35. Here in Madison, current conditions, cloudy skies 36 degrees, dew point 16. Relative humidity 44%. Winds northeast at 23, gusting up to 29 miles per hour. The pressure 30.02, and that's falling. At News Radio 1310 WIBA. 1310 WIBA. Tonight, I celebrate my love. Roberta Flack and Peeble Bryson. 7:14 now with Chris Ryan. You should be getting ready for Madison's #1 fun run. It's the 14th annual Crazy Legs Classic on Saturday, April 22nd, starting at 10:30 a.m. The 5-mile fun run or 2.5-mile walk benefits UW Varsity Athletics. It starts on the Capitol Square and ends up at Camp Randall Stadium. The entry fee is $20. You can pick up registration information at Bucky's Locker Room or area sporting goods stores. And registration happens at the UW Fieldhouse on Friday, April 21st from 3 to 8, or Saturday morning, the 22nd, from 7:30 until 10 a.m. Everyone who enters gets the 14th annual Crazy Legs Classic souvenir T-shirt, plus there are trophies for winners in various age categories. Take the challenge of the 14th annual Crazy Legs Classic Saturday, April 22nd. It's sponsored by the Wisconsin State Journal and Old Style Beer, Merrill Lynch, Rayovac, Northwest Airlines, WISC TV, and WIBA. We'll check our forecast in a few moments. Gordon Lightfoot now on 1310 WIBA. .1310 WIBA, the man from Canada, the friendly neighbor to the north. Gordon Lightfoot, if you could read my mind. And if you could read my mind, you'd know that I'm about to read the forecast for you for the remainder of the weekend. Not much left, of course, and the start of your work week tomorrow. Cloudy skies, 36 in Madison currently for tonight. Windy, some light rain, freezing rain or sleet developing later on. That good old mixed bag of precipitation. We'll have an overnight low at 30. Winds east-northeast from 12 to 25. Then tomorrow, windy, light rain, freezing rain or sleet early, changing to all rain, then ending in the afternoon with a high at 43 and winds east from 15 to 30. On Tuesday, continued windy with rain and a few thunderstorms likely. High right around 54. Cloudy skies, 36 in Madison. Winds northeast at 23 miles per hour, gusting up to 29 at News Radio 1310 WIBA.
Dear car owners, it's time.
Seasons 4 through 27. Stop in.
Chris Ryan keeping you company on a Sunday evening, and Natalie Cole continues our Sunday evening music, The Very Thought of You, 1310 WIBA. .1310 WIBA, Miss Natalie Cole. Coming up, we'll take a look at news, weather, and sports for this Sunday evening. Making headlines at this hour, Seagram has announced an MCA purchase plan. President Clinton is assailing Mideast violence. We'll check local news as well. And in sports, we'll tell you how Ben Crenshaw won the Masters today. Some sports scores as well, and a wet weather forecast for your early work week. All that follows Julio Iglesias and Crazy on 1310 WIBA.
This is the news station, News Radio 1310 WIBA.
Good evening at 7:30 in Madison. Cloudy skies, 36 degrees. I'm Chris Ryan, WIBA News. The Canadian distiller Seagram is officially going Hollywood. The company has announced what's been expected for days. It's agreed to buy 80% of studio operator MCA from Matsushita of Japan for $5.7 billion. President Clinton is pleading with Israelis and Palestinians not to let the enemies of peace kill hope for a normal life in the Mideast. Clinton spoke to a Jewish organization in Los Angeles after 2 suicide bomb attacks in Gaza killed 6 Israelis and wounded dozens more. Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin promises to continue talks with the PLO in the wake of today's suicide bombings. Rabin's resolve to pursue peace with the Palestinians comes despite calls from right-wingers and some of his allies to halt the talks in protest. Women's rights supporters have rallied near the U.S. Capitol to protest violence against women and the agenda of the Republican-controlled Congress. During the 5-hour rally, speakers voiced fears that lawmakers will curb abortion rights and cut welfare programs for women and children. And more locally, a Minnesota murder suspect is in a Wisconsin hospital after a shootout with Polk County authorities yesterday. Michael Church was on the run for 2 weeks before a search in Polk County started Friday night after he held 2 people hostage for a couple of hours. The 28-year-old man is wanted in Minnesota for the murder of 3 people from the same family more than 2 weeks ago. A former Chicago firefighter accused of killing his wife and driving around with her body in the trunk of his car wants taxpayer-funded help defending himself despite a $2,700 monthly pension. An indigency hearing is scheduled tomorrow in Racine County Circuit Court for Eugene Ornstead. The 57-year-old Ornstead is jailed on Racine on a charge of first-degree intentional homicide in the May slaying of his wife, Kathleen. In sports, Ben Crenshaw is the Masters champion after his final round 68 left him 1 stroke better than Davis Love III. It's the second Masters title for Crenshaw, who previously won the Green Jacket in 1984. Love kept the pressure on Crenshaw today, firing a 6-under par 66, but the champion carefully played the final hole, settling for a bogey and a 1-shot victory. Greg Norman and Jay Haas finished tied for third, 3 shots back at 11 under par. Checking scores in the NBA today, Cleveland beat Chicago 79-78. Indiana knocked off Charlotte 97-68. Milwaukee victorious over Atlanta 102-99. Glenn Robinson 32 points for the Bucks as they remain 2 games behind Boston in the race for the final Eastern Conference playoff spot. Boston knocks off Washington 110-98 and Phoenix over Portland 104-94. In the fourth, Houston leading Denver 117-111. San Antonio playing at the LA Lakers a little bit later on this evening. NHL scores today: Boston 6, Buffalo 5. Detroit skates past Chicago 4-1. New Jersey shut out the Rangers 2-0, and Dallas beat St. Louis 3-2. In the third, Anaheim leading LA 4-1. Tampa Bay and Hartford scoreless in the second, as well as San Jose and Edmonton scoreless in the first. Weather's next. WIBA News Time 7:33.
Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Cloudy skies, 36 degrees as we take a look at the WIBA forecast for this evening. Windy, light rain, freezing rain, or sleet developing later on. Overnight low at 30. Winds east-northeast from 12 to 25. For tomorrow, windy, light rain, freezing rain or sleet early, changing to all rain, then ending in the afternoon hours with a high at 43 and winds east from 15 to 30. On Tuesday, continued windy with rain and a few thunderstorms likely, high reaching 54. On Wednesday, chance of rain, high at 46. Thursday, partly to mostly cloudy, high at 54. And Friday, partly cloudy, and we're looking for high right around 56. Milwaukee, cloudy, 37 this hour. Green Bay, cloudy, 35. Here in Madison, cloudy skies, 36 degrees. Northeast winds at 23, gusting up to 29 miles per hour at times. At News Radio 1310 WIBA. .1310 WIBA. Oh, sweet, this love it is. Anita Baker and a sweet-sounding song from her this Sunday evening, getting us started musically this half hour, 7:39 now with Chris Ryan. And here's a note from the WIBA community calendar. The American Heart Association will hold a free conference on heart disease for women of color on April 22nd at the War Memorial Center. Learn about nutrition, blood pressure, weight control, exercise, diabetes, and smoking. And if you'd like more info, you can call 271-9999. And that's Community Note from News Radio 1310 WIBA.
Listen for Crime Stoppers, a weekly public affairs presentation of AM 1310 WIBA, Madison's information station.
Thank you very much, Mike Kelly. You'll be hosting Madison's Afternoon Update tomorrow at 3, as he does each and every weekday. You can drive home with the day's news, weather, sports, business news, and interesting features on health, entertainment, and the law. Mike Kelly and the Madison Afternoon Updates. Weekdays at 3, News Radio 1310 WIBA. 1310 WIBA and Vanessa Williams just for tonight. Just for tonight. I hope you stick around. Thanks for being here this weekend with us on 1310. And we'll check our forecast for you in a bit. Jim Croce on IBA.
If I
1310 WIBA, Jim Croce, and saving up some time in a bottle. Not a bad concept. Too bad no one's found a way to make it work yet. Cloudy skies, 36 degrees in Madison as we check the forecast for tonight. Windy, some light rain, freezing rain or sleet developing later on, overnight low at 30. Then for tomorrow, you're back to work with windy conditions, light rain, freezing rain or sleet early in the day, changing to all rain, then ending in the afternoon with a high right around 43. On Tuesday, continued windy with rain and a few thunderstorms likely, afternoon high at 54. Cloudy and 36 right now at News Radio 1310 WIBA.
The Toro, there's even more to like about your very...
1310 WIBA and Francis Albert Sinatra sounding ever so good on a Sunday evening. And The Last Dance. We're taking that old two-step ourselves up to the top of the hour. And CBS News at straight up 8 o'clock for you, followed by local news, weather, and sports on the Sunday evening. Kind of a wet forecast to look forward to if that's what you're thinking about doing. Looking forward to a wet forecast as you start your work week. Cloudy skies, 36 degrees. Patty Austin and Sadao Watanabe now. Any Other Fool on 1310 WIBA.
Strong, fast Anacin. It works on your headache, so you can work better. Use as directed.
This is the news station. News Radio 1310 WIBA.
Good evening at 8:06 in Madison. Cloudy skies, 34 degrees. I'm Chris Ryan, WIBA News. It took more than 14 hours over 2 days for a Marathon County jury to fail to reach a verdict in a Winnebago County courtroom. The jury couldn't decide whether Gary Baines killed his wife and dumped her body in the Fox River when they ended their deliberations yesterday. Judge Robert Haas made no decision on the case yet, but is considering a defense request for acquittal and a DA request to declare a hung jury. Records show the State Investment Board received monthly warnings about the shrinking value of derivatives in 1994, long before disclosing a $95 million loss. Records show the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel obtained under the Open Records Law show monthly statements reveal losses in high-risk derivatives as long ago as last June. They include a negative value of more than $15 million in June, 8 months before a February loss report of $70 million. Recycling awards are being handed out to 6 state firms to help them make products from state waste. Almost $600,000 will be given out by the state to offset the increased cost of recycling for these businesses. The firms receiving the awards were announced by Governor Thompson and include Evco Plastics of DeForest for $95,000. It cost taxpayers in the state more than $10,000 for just 1 day's work, as the state assembly met on a Saturday for just the 4th time in the last decade. Both parties passed the blame for the weekend session, and much of the time was spent arguing why they were there. When they did get around to it, 3 bills were discussed and passed. 2 are minor bills, but the third is key in the Republicans' tort reform agenda and limits a defendant's liability on civil lawsuits. Failing to get a court order to halt the seizure of one of their 3 dogs, a Lake Mills couple has found a home for it. Tammy and Mike Fortney were ordered to comply by city ordinance limiting the amount of dogs a household can have at 2 by midnight last night. So Sugar, a Pomeranian, is now in the care of Tammy's mother. She says it's just temporary and they will fight the ordinance. The couple also owns a Shepherd mix and another dog that is half pit bull, half Rottweiler. Although no one matched all the numbers in the Powerball drawing last night, a couple of people got most of them to win $100,000. One ticket was sold at S&R in Wauwatosa and the other at Park and Save in Sheboygan. Since no one has won the jackpot, the drawing on Wednesday will be worth $75 million. There was one lucky winner in the Super Cash drawing. A ticket purchased at Zinke's ShopRite in Wisconsin Dells matched all the numbers to take the $250,000 top prize. In sports, Wisconsin Badgers line coach Jim Huber says he couldn't be happier with the situation at center. Juniors Al Gay and Mike Rader are battling for the starting assignment. The Badgers need a replacement for Corey Raymer, who's been the starter since 1991. Raymer is expected to be a high draft choice in the National Football League draft. Huber says Gay and Rader are excited about playing and are working hard, but neither has either experience. Gay is currently running with the first team in spring practice, but Wisconsin coach Barry Alvarez says Rader is among the best athletes on the line. And B.J. Surhoff made a good first impression in his quest to prove he's recovered from off-season abdominal surgery. Brewers manager Phil Garner says Surhoff hit the ball well and looked very, very good. Surhoff says he feels good and is confident he'll be able to continue doing what he's done in the past. Surhoff accepted a minor league contract and invitation to spring training Friday night after an acrimonious day of negotiating between the club and his Boston-based agent, Greg Clifton. Weather's next, WIBA News Time, 8:10.
Fire
14. So this year, make your Easter tradition special and easier with a delicious ham or party tray from Fire Glazed Ham.
The WIBA local forecast, cloudy skies 34 in Madison for tonight. Windy with light rain, freezing rain or sleet developing later on. Overnight low at 30. Winds east-northeast from 12 to 25. Tomorrow, windy with light rain, freezing rain or sleet early, changing to all rain, then ending in the afternoon with a high at 43. Winds east from 15 to 30. On Tuesday, continued windy with rain and a few thunderstorms likely. Afternoon high at 54. The extended outlook on Wednesday, chance of rain, high at 46. Thursday, partly to mostly cloudy, high at 54, and Friday, partly cloudy, high right around 56. Looking around the state at this hour, at Mitchell Field in Milwaukee, cloudy 36, Green Bay, cloudy and 35. Here in Madison, current conditions, cloudy skies 34 degrees, dew point 18, relative humidity 51%, winds northeast at 23, gusting up to 29 miles per hour, the pressure rising at 30.03 at News Radio 1310 WIBA.
You're listening to Chris Ryan on News Radio 1310 WIBA.
1310 WIBA and Larry Graham, 1 in a Million You. 8:16 now on a Sunday evening. Cloudy skies, 34 degrees in Madison. On the way, a check of our forecast for the early parts of this week. The music continues now with Paul Davis, I Go Crazy, 1310 WIBA. .1310 WIBA and Paul Davis. Cloudy and 34 in Madison. And for tonight in our forecast, as promised, windy, light rain, freezing rain or sleet developing later on, and an overnight low at 30. Then for tomorrow, windy, light rain, freezing rain or sleet early, changing to all rain, then ending in the afternoon with a high at 43. On Tuesday, continued windy with rain and a few thunderstorms likely, high reaching 54. Once again in Madison, cloudy skies, 34 degrees. And coming up, we will reread winning lottery numbers tonight from Pick 3 on 1310 WIBA.
Financing to qualified credit in lieu of rebate.
Now, if you could clean your car this good, you'd be an octopus.
$4.99 car wash with a free rain check every day at Octopus.
Well, as we wait for that Powerball prize for the midweek drawing to inch its way up closer to $75 million, I guess $500 in the Pick 3 drawing is going to have to tide us over, which, if you're a person like me and you didn't tell the government to take out enough money during the course of the year, and you have to pay in to the government at this time of the year, $500 comes in handy, and it'll come in handy if you have these numbers tonight, 7, 2, and 4 in Pick 3. Once again, 7, 2, and 4. Hope you're lucky and cash in. Dionne Warwick now. I'll never fall in love again. 1310 WIBA.
What do you get?
1310 WIBA with Miss Dionne Warwick. Coming up on a look at news, weather, and sports for this hour, making headlines, Seagram's buying MCA. A women's rally looks to 1996's elections. And local news, Governor Thompson has some ideas on where to get the money for a new Brewers stadium. And we'll tell you how the Bucks are doing in their quest for that final playoff spot for the Eastern Conference. Tell you about the Masters as well. Following Andy Williams, how do you keep the music playing on 1310 WIBA?
This is the news station, News Radio 1310 WIBA.
Good evening at 8:30 in Madison. Cloudy skies, 34 degrees. I'm Chris Ryan, WIBA News. Primary ownership of a major Hollywood studio operator is about to shift from Japanese to Canadian hands. The Canadian distiller Seagram has officially announced plans to buy 80% of MCA, which owns Universal, from Japan's Matsushita Company. Feminist leaders say today's big rally on Capitol Hill should galvanize women for the 96 elections. Thousands of women, all ages, were joined by many men in protesting plans to scale back social programs for poor women and children. It's been a bad day for the cause of Middle East peace. Islamic militants opposed to the Israeli PLO peace process killed 6 Israeli soldiers and wounded dozens of other people in 2 suicide bombings, but Israel's prime minister says peace talks will still go on. It's been an emotional Palm Sunday for a congregation in Piedmont, Alabama. It was on Palm Sunday last year that the Goshen United Methodist Church was devastated by a tornado that killed 20 people, and the anniversary was marked by a service of remembrance. Locally, Governor Thompson is coming forward for the first time since the defeat of the sports lottery referendum with his ideas for funding on a new Milwaukee Brewers stadium. He says he's reluctantly backing a sales tax in counties surrounding the Milwaukee area. The governor says the legislature should give those counties the option whether they want to raise the sales tax to fund the stadium. A judge in Oshkosh has dismissed a deadlocked jury after it considered charges against a man accused of murdering his wife rather than share assets with her in a divorce. Gary Baines of Neenah then left the courtroom free on bond. Judge Robert Haas says he'll hold a hearing within a few days on defense attorney Stephen Glenn's motion for directed acquittal. In sports 1x1, the contenders fell away at the Masters, all but 2. Davis Love III finished his round at 13 under par, then waited. Ben Crenshaw, the lone contender on the course through his final 3 holes, putted away his way past Love and into his second green jacket. Crenshaw won the Masters today, closing with a 68 that left him at 14 under par, 274. After the putt that won the championship, Crenshaw bent over on the green and held his head in his hands, the show of emotion coming exactly 1 week after his teacher, Harvey Penick, died in Austin, Texas. And the Bucks victorious today over Atlanta by a score of 102-99. Boston stays ahead of the Bucks by 2 games in that hunt for the Eastern Conference final spot as they beat Washington 110-98. Cleveland over Chicago 79-78. Indiana 97. Charlotte 68. Phoenix tops Portland 104-94, and Houston beats Denver 123-120. San Antonio at the Lakers playing a little bit later on this evening. NHL scores today: Boston gets past Buffalo 6-5. Detroit 4. Chicago 1. New Jersey beats the Rangers 2-0. Dallas 3. St. Louis 2, and Anaheim 5. LA 1. In the third, Tampa Bay shutting out Hartford 2-0, and San Jose leads Edmonton 3-2. Weather's next. WIBA News Time 8:33.
If there's a fidelity and qual line fence.
Cloudy skies, 34 degrees as we take a look at the WIBA forecast for tonight. Windy, light rain, freezing rain, or sleet developing later on. Overnight low at 30, winds east-northeast from 12 to 25. For tomorrow, windy with light rain and freezing rain or sleet early, changing to all rain, then ending in the afternoon with the high at 43. On Tuesday, continued windy with rain and a few thunderstorms likely, high reaching 54. Cloudy in Milwaukee and 36 degrees. Green Bay reporting in with cloudy skies and 35. Cloudy in Madison, 34 degrees. Northeast winds at 23, gusting to 29 at News Radio 1310 WIBA. 1310 WIBA, Neil Diamond and Barbra Streisand doing some harmonizing for us on a Sunday evening. You don't bring me flowers anymore. How dare you? 8:38 now with Chris Ryan. Here's a note from the WIBA community calendar. It's time for another movie matinee. The Madison Senior Center at 330 West Mifflin offers a free movie matinee on Thursday, April 20th at 2:30 p.m. This month's movie will be City Slickers with Billy Crystal and Jack Palance. The movie will be followed by a dinner of chicken breast, baked potatoes, pear, and ice cream for only $2.50. Reservations for the dinner are required, and if you'd like more details, you can call 266-6581. And if your nonprofit group, organization, city, or town is having an event, send the information to WIBA Community Calendar, P.O. Box 99, Madison, Wisconsin, 53701, or you can fax us at 276-WIBA, that's 276-9422. The Community Calendar from the Gordon Flesh Company and News Radio 1310 WIBA.
You could be sitting on $1 million in...
1310 WIBA, the piano man himself right there, just the way you are, Billy Joel. Well, make sure you're here tomorrow morning as you can start your day informed and entertained with Michael Barr and Madison's Morning Update. Stephen Whitburn, Judy Newman, and CBS News anchor our morning news. And we have Grant Brome from the Channel 27 Weather Center with the day's forecast. And Michael will be here, as he always is, bringing you all the sports scores and highlights, plus business news, the Osgood File, and plenty of time checks, so you know where you're going and what time it is exactly, and how much time you have to get there. That's always important. Madison's #1 information morning is on News Radio 1310 WIBA. Also with us right now, Al Jarreau and the theme for Moonlighting. 1310 WIBA doing some moonlighting this Sunday evening with Al Jarreau. Coming up, we'll take a look at the forecast for you. And it looks like a mixed bag of precipitation once again. West Montgomery now, summing up part of our forecast, windy on 1310 WIBA. 1310 WIBA, 8:49 now with Chris Ryan, your Sunday evening companion. Cloudy skies, 34 degrees for tonight in our forecast. Windy, light rain, freezing rain, or sleet developing later on, overnight low at 30. Then for tomorrow, back to work with windy conditions, light rain, freezing rain, or sleet early in the day, changing to all rain, then ending in the afternoon with a high right around 43. On Tuesday, continued windy with rain and a few thunderstorms likely, high at 54. Cloudy, 34 at News Radio 1310 WIBA.
Dear car owners, it's time for the
Chevrolet Open House, going on now at Simden Motors in Mount Horeb and Evansville.
Charlie Rich joining us now with a very special love song just for you at 1310 WIBA.
Dave.
1310 WIBA as we creep closer to the top of the hour, 9 o'clock. For CBS News coming up, we'll let you in on what the top story will be this hour on CBS News. Following Johnny Mathis, Take 6. It's all in the game, 1310 WIBA.
Many a tear.
1310 WIBA with Mr. Johnny Mathis. 8:57 now with Chris Ryan coming up on the top of the hour. And CBS News, as always, one of the top stories in the upcoming CBS News broadcast, 2 American students among the wounded in the Gaza bus bombings. That and a whole lot more. We'll take a look at local news, weather, and sports as well. A wet forecast starting off the work week. And Steve Lawrence taking us to 9 o'clock in news time. Go away, little girl, on 1310 WIBA.
Suicide bombings in the Gaza Strip.
800-535-7200. That's 800-535-7200. This is the news station, News Radio 1310 WIBA.
Good evening at 9:06 in Madison. Cloudy skies, 34 degrees. I'm Chris Ryan, WIBA News. Madison police are investigating a shooting incident from early this morning. Police say a woman suffered minor wounds when she was shot around 1:30 at Boulevard Lanes on East Springs Drive. The woman was treated and released at University Hospital, and police say no one is in custody. Statistics for February show new housing starts were up significantly over the previous year, much better than the rest of the country, but a lot of individual builders disagree with those figures. Many say they are lagging behind last year. They say the reason for the discrepancy is in multifamily units such as apartments, where building over the previous year increased from 46 to 340. Single-family homes, however, only grew by 4%. Should the whole state pay for a new Milwaukee Brewer baseball stadium or just a few counties? Governor Thompson and some lawmakers are suggesting a sales tax for just Milwaukee County and surrounding areas. Several counties in southeastern Wisconsin have already declared their opposition to the plan to raise the sales tax by 0.25%, and they don't think the voters will change their minds. Many feel the Brewers are a state asset and should be paid for by everyone, not just a select few counties. Members say there are about 10,000 people in the state ready to support their cause with guns if they need to. The Militia of Wisconsin is an organization headquartered in the southwestern part of the state, but they say they have members all over the state. Its leaders say they're ready to defend their homes against the U.S. military should President Clinton declare martial law. They say the U.S. government is the enemy and is ready to take us all over and send us to prison camps. He held the position during the UW's most troubled years, the 60s, but Fred Harvey Harrington is credited with making the university one of the country's best. He died yesterday of complications from a stroke at the age of 82. As the UW system president from 1962 through 1970, Harrington was known as a supporter of student protests as long as they remained peaceful. Winning lottery numbers tonight in Pick 3, the numbers drawn were 7, 2, and 4. In sports, one of Milwaukee manager Phil Garner's biggest concerns this spring was whether center fielder Darrell Hamilton could throw like he used to. Hamilton underwent surgery last summer in which a tendon from his right wrist was used to replace a torn ligament in his right elbow. So Garner was curious to see if Hamilton's arm was as good and strong as it was before the operation. To his surprise, it's stronger and better than ever. Hamilton says the reason is that he's gotten back to basics. Hamilton rehabilitated with teammate Pat Listash at Health South, a sports injury rehabilitation center in Houston during the winter. Glenn Robinson scored 32 points and had 9 rebounds as the Milwaukee Bucks rallied from a 17-point third-quarter deficit for a 102-99 victory over the Atlanta Hawks this afternoon. Unfortunately for the Bucks, they stayed 2 games behind Boston in the race for the final Eastern Conference playoff spot because the Celtics beat Washington 110-98 this afternoon. Other scores in the NBA today: Cleveland slips past Chicago 79-68, Indiana 97, Charlotte 68, Phoenix 104, Portland 94, Houston 123, and Denver 120. Just underway in the first quarter, San Antonio and the LA Lakers. In the NHL, Boston skates past Buffalo 6-5, Detroit 4, Chicago 1, New Jersey shut out the New York Rangers 2-0, Dallas 3, St. Louis 2, Anaheim beats LA 5-1. Game still going on tonight. Tampa Bay leading Hartford 2-0 in the third, and San Jose leads Edmonton in the second 4-2. Weather's next. WIBA News Time 9:10.
Office at 873-77.
1310 WIBA. Vanessa Williams, save the best for last, which is exactly what Ben Crenshaw did today, capturing the Masters crown, and that's the second time he's held it. He won it the first time in 1984. Coming up a little bit later on, we'll tell you what's big at the box office this weekend. Elton John right now, musically. Sorry seems to be the hardest word on 1310 WIBA. 1310 WIBA and Elton John. 9:19 now with Chris Ryan in on a Sunday evening. Cloudy skies, 34 degrees, and our forecast tonight: windy, light rain, freezing rain, or sleet developing later on. Overnight low at 30, winds east-northeast from 12 to 25. Then for tomorrow, windy, light rain, freezing rain, or sleet early, changing to all rain, then ending in the afternoon with a high reaching 43, winds east from 15 to 30. On Tuesday, continued windy with rain and a few thunderstorms likely, high reaching 54. Cloudy and 34, and as promised, coming up, we'll tell you what's happening movie-wise at the box office this weekend on 1310 WIBA.
4? So come see us now at the Senex Home and Farm Center, just a short drive to Cottage Grove.
You can do it, 'cause Senex has it all.
It looks like the action comedy Bad Boys proved to be a good investment at the box office this weekend. The film starring Martin Lawrence and Will Smith as Miami police officers debuted in the #1 spot, and industry sources estimate it took in about $15.6 million. The #2 film this week was a Goofy movie, which narrowly beat Tommy Boy. Don Juan DeMarco was 4th, followed by Outbreak. Rounding out the top 10 are Circle of Friends, Dolores Claiborne, Rob Roy, and Forrest Gump continues to be hot. Final figures are due out tomorrow, and that's what's hot at the box office. Robbie Dupree now musically, and Steal Away on 1310 WIBA. 1310 WIBA, coming up on a look at news, weather, and sports. Making headlines this hour, a women's rally in Washington, Social Security streamlining, A Minnesota murder suspect is in a Wisconsin hospital, and we'll check sports and Ben Crenshaw's Masters victory. Following Lou Rawls' Unforgettable on 1310 WIBA.
This is the news station, News Radio 1310 WIBA.
Good evening at 9:30 in Madison. Cloudy skies, 34 degrees. I'm Chris Ryan, WIBA News. A Washington rally for women's rights has voiced strong protest against the conservative political agenda. National Organization for Women President Patricia Ireland urged feminists to organize for the 96 elections, warning that otherwise newt happens, referring to the House Speaker. The Social Security system could be in for some streamlining. The White House has plans to make the agency more efficient by turning some of the work over to private businesses and staggering the monthly mailing of retirement and disability checks to future beneficiaries. Seagram's plan to buy MCA of Hollywood is likely to make the studio operator happy. A media analyst in New York says MCA has complained its current owner, Mashusta, hasn't paid much attention, while Seagram is very much interested in the entertainment business. President Clinton's reaction to today's suicide bombings in Gaza is clear. The push for Mideast peace must go on. Before leaving Los Angeles for Washington, Clinton said that the enemies of peace behind the attacks must not be allowed to succeed. A Minnesota murder suspect is in a Wisconsin hospital after a shootout with Polk County authorities yesterday. Michael Church was on the run for 2 weeks before a search in Polk County started Friday night after he held 2 people hostage for a couple of hours. The 28-year-old man is wanted in Minnesota for the murder of 3 people from the same family more than 2 weeks ago. Nobody cracked the $64 million Powerball jackpot, boosting the prize to an estimated $75 million for the midweek drawing. Wisconsin had 51,555 winning tickets for a total prize payout of $388,307. The numbers drawn last night were 5, 20, 24, 33, and 42. The Powerball was 7. The $2.2 million Wisconsin State Megabucks jackpot also went without a winner. The prize is worth $2.4 million for Wednesday's drawing. The winning Megabucks numbers were 1, 31, 38, 39, 40, and 46. In sports, Ben Crenshaw is the Masters champion after his final round 68 left him 1 stroke better than Davis Love III. It's the second Masters title for Crenshaw, who previously won the Green Jacket in 1984. Love kept the pressure on Crenshaw today, firing a 6-under par 66, but the champion carefully played the final hole, settling for a bogey and a 1-shot victory. 7-time Winston Cup driving champion Dale Earnhardt has his first victory of the year. Earnhardt won today's first Union 400 in North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. He beat pole sitter Jeff Gordon to the finish line by more than 13 seconds. Earnhardt has finished out of the top 4 this year only once. Weather's next. WIBA News Time now 9:33.
This Madison Civic Center, valuable discounts on the back of your Civic Center ticket.
Currently cloudy skies, 34 degrees. As we take a look at the WIBA forecast for tonight, windy, light rain, freezing rain, or sleet developing later on. Overnight low at 30. Winds east-northeast from 12 to 25. For tomorrow, windy, light rain, freezing rain, or sleet early, changing to all rain, then ending in the afternoon with a high reaching 43 and winds east from 15 to 30. On Tuesday, continued windy with rain and a few thunderstorms likely, high reaching 54. Cloudy, 34 northeast winds at 24, gusting up to 30. And our wind chill factor this hour, 7 above at News Radio 1310 WIBA. 1310 WIBA, they are reunited. Peaches and Herb, and I'm reunited with you on another Sunday evening. Chris Ryan taking care of you tonight, 9:39 now. As here's another note from the WIBA community calendar. Now that spring is here, and if you're looking for another apartment, you can call the Tenant Resource Center on advice on how to avoid problem apartments or stop by the Tenant Resource Center's office. The phone number is 257-0006, and they are located at 122 State Street, room 507A. The Tenant Resource Center, taking care of you and your apartment problems. And that's a community note from News Radio 1310 WIBA.
Mufflers, brakes, oil.
Earth open Wednesday and Friday till 9 p.m.
9:41 now, and more music for your Sunday evening. Anita Baker joining us now, Body and Soul, 1310 WIBA. 1310 WIBA and Miss Anita Baker. Well, if you're a soap opera fan, be glad that you're watching those programs here in the good old US of A, because actors on some of Australia's most watched television soap operas are staging a 24-hour labor strike, complaining they are underpaid. The strike was called by the Media, Entertainment, and Arts Alliance trade union after television producers said they would appeal a court-ordered salary increase. Soap operas affected include Neighbours, one of Australia's most popular programs. It's also screened in many other countries, such as Britain. One union official says actors' incomes are at an all-time low. Some actors, she says, live near the poverty line. Some folks acting just for the love of it. And Harry Chapin musically now. We'll check our forecast in a bit on 1310 WIBA. 1310 WIBA, Harry Chapin and the Cats in the Cradle. 9:50 now, and checking our forecast, looks like there's some heavy snow moving into the La Crosse area as we speak. A little bit earlier this hour, radar indicated snow spreading into parts of western Wisconsin, and heavy snow was being reported in the La Crosse and Viroqua area. It now appears accumulations of 1 to 3 inches can be expected by midnight in the La Crosse, Viroqua, Sparta, Tomah, and Black River Falls areas. Additional accumulations will be possible after midnight. In addition, strong east winds at 15 to 25 miles per hour were causing visibilities to drop to near zero in the higher terrain. Motorists traveling in that area should use extreme caution as roadways are rapidly becoming snow-covered and very slippery. Cloudy 34 here in Madison. Our local forecast for tonight: windy, light rain, freezing rain or sleet developing later on. Overnight low at 30. Then tomorrow, windy, light rain, freezing rain or sleet early, changing to all rain, then ending in the afternoon with high at 43. On Tuesday, continued windy with rain and a few thunderstorms likely, high reaching 54. Cloudy and 34 at News Radio 1310 WIBA.
Attention, please.
Is the price you pay at Kaiser Ford and Kaiser Jeep Eagle on both sides of the Beltline at Todd Drive, Madison.
And it's Madison's last and best word in nightly news, weather, and those late sports scores. The 11 o'clock news final, weeknights on News Radio 1310 WIBA, and back again tomorrow night.
The shadow.
1310 WIBA and Mr. Tony Bennett, the shadow of your smile. We're getting closer to a CBS News update, 9:57 now at the top of the hour, 10 o'clock, followed by local news and a fresh forecast from those fine folks over in the Weather Observatory, working hard this evening. And we'll take a look at sports as well for this Sunday evening, and Patsy Cline to take us up to news time. Crazy on 1310 WIBA.